Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to this April 9th council meeting. It's one day later than normal, but if you please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to thank everybody for accommodating us for taking a Tuesday council meeting. This is kind of out of the ordinary unless there's a holiday before. But the eclipse was yesterday, and lo and behold, we had a sunny day, that I would call it. And I think the eclipse was something that everybody will remember for their entire life. It was something that I didn't expect. What would it look like? Because even with a little sliver of sun coming around the moon, it was so bright you couldn't see it. And as soon as that moon hit the sun, it was like dark.
It was spectacular.
It was spectacular. Exactly right. So I hope everybody enjoyed it with their families or wherever they went to see it. It was a fantastic thing to experience, and I'm glad that we had the opportunity, at least in Medina, to experience, because it doesn't happen that often, of course. I think the next one is over 375, 400 years from now in Medina again. So I'm not pretty sure I'm not going to be here to see it. I don't know if you guys will be.
I don't think so.
But it was a great thing to behold. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Here.
Here.
Hazeltine.
Present.
Rose. Here. Shields. Simpson.
Here.
Coin.
Here.
DeSalvo.
Here. I was choked up a little bit. Just so everybody knows, Mr. Shields had to go to an executive session, so he won't be here this council. He was at finance, but he had to leave to attend that meeting. So I think we're going to change roles a little bit. Sure. So you're going to be doing all the motions. So reading in the minutes,
Mr. President,
Mr. Simpson.
I recommend that we accept the council minutes from, I got to see where it was, March 25th, as presented by the clerk.
Second. Any discussion on the approval of the minutes? Will the clerk please call the roll on the approval of the minutes?
Here.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Reports of standing committees. The Finance Committee, of course, met prior to Finance this evening, and it will have several items on the agenda at the next meeting. Health, Safety, and Sanitation, Mr. Simpson.
No meeting scheduled, nothing to report.
Thank you. Special Legislation, Mr. Rose.
No meeting scheduled and nothing to report, but in one of the meetings in May, we will be revisiting the room tax options that we have available to us.
Thank you. Streets and Sidewalks, Ms. Hare.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report and no future meetings planned.
Thank you. Water and Utilities, Mrs. Hazeltine.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report and no meeting scheduled at this time.
Thank you. Emerging Technologies, Mrs. DeSalvo.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled and nothing to report at this time.
Thank you. Requests for council action. We have several for finance. We have 2482 budget amendments, 2483 One Ohio funding to Medina County ADAMH Board, 2484 rescind ordinance 11723 City Uptown 135 LLC MOU, 2485 resolution to approve or disapprove county 911 plan, 2486 expenditure to Chippewa Roofing Fire Station Number 1 roof, 2487 purchase of a 2024 Freightliner 114 SD Plus roll-off truck sanitation, 2488 consultant selection Medina Municipal Airport, and 2489 amend salaries and benefits code, the probation department. Reports of municipal officers. Mayor Hamwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Northeast Ohio Area-Wide Coordinating Agency, or NOACA, will be mailing out travel surveys to randomly selected participants in the five-county region, including Medina County. We're just encouraging those that get one to please fill it out to help with the planning for NOACA. The weekend activities for the solar eclipse this past weekend went very well. Good crowds on the square, good crowds at the rec center, and I think many people enjoyed it at home as well. I'd like to, again, a special thanks to Barbara Deserve for arranging a working group to take part in the planning and arranging of these many programs with the collaboration from the Medina Area Chamber of Commerce, the Medina County Visitors Bureau, and many of the local businesses for their support and advertising posters for the event. Major sponsors included Armstrong, Huntington Bank, Medina County Convention and Visitors Bureau, Root Candles, and Sweets and Geeks. And we thank all of them for their generous support. The Children's Center of Medina County Annual Pinwheel Walk will take place on, this recognizes child abuse cases in our county, will take place on April 14th from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. up on the square. And I will be out of town, but Council President Coyne is going to be there to represent the city with a proclamation. On April 21st, from 8 to noon, there's Main Street Medina is having a Cars and Coffee on the square. And last but not least, I'd ask Council President Coyne to join me and call up Council Clerk Kathy Patton and Clerk Teresa Knox. Don't go too far. Why don't you come between us? So Kathy, I'll give you yours, and Tressa, I'll read yours, and then I'll give you this, okay, because I can't read it that far. So this is a City of Medina proclamation for the 55th anniversary of Professional Municipal Clerks Week in recognition of Kathy Patton and Teresa Knox. Whereas the Office of Professional Municipal Clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world. Whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the Office of Professional Municipal Clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels. And whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering services to all. And whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and the community. Whereas the professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the Office of Professional Municipal Clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, county, and international professional organizations. And now, therefore, I, Dennis Hanwell, Mayor of the City of Medina, and the members of the Medina City Council do hereby recognize the week of May 5th through May 11th, 2024 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our professional municipal clerk, Teresa and Kathy, for their vital services they both perform and their exemplary dedication to our community. I present this to you now.
Wait. They may want to say how they enjoy working with council. Maybe? Oh, you do? Okay, well, congratulations.
Please do it on an individual basis.
And for those of you at home, these two girls are the backbone of our council.
Yes, these women do a lot.
They do. They keep us all in line, and that needs to be done quite often. And anytime that you call to have a request from council, you're either talking to Kathy or Teresa, and they're usually the ones that have the answers for you. So, congratulations, girls. And
John, I think the ladies would like to have a week of vacation.
Oh,
Immediately.
boom goes the dynamite.
That is,
Stole my idea.
I guess, touche, Mr. Huber. That's a good one.
was
Thank you.
rough.
Mr. Durham, Director of Finance.
Thank you. I have a few items. First of all, a reminder to all residents, the City of Medina does have an income tax. If you're at home watching this meeting on TV, you haven't done your taxes yet, you might want to shut this off and go work on those. It's April 15th. Second item is the mayor sent along an email, and I apologize, I replied to him, and I meant to include council on it, and then I talked to John earlier today about this email. He had no idea what I was talking about, and I went back to my office and realized that's because I forgot to include you. So I resent it this evening, but OPER's board is taking steps to ask the legislature to increase the employer contribution from the current 14% up to 18%. So the potential impact on the city of that, for 2023, the city paid $10 million in payroll that was covered under OPERS. So if that full increase went in, 4% would be $400,000 a year impact on the city. I will say that I think that's pretty unlikely. My guess is that the 18% that they're asking for is basically a starting point for negotiations with the legislature. They're probably asking for 18, hoping to get 16. And additionally, they have done increases in the time that I've been here. When they've done that in the past, they've given us a lot of notice and they've phased them in gradually. So I do not expect that we're going to see, all of a sudden, beginning of next year, it's an extra $400,000 for OPERS. I think what we're more likely to see is like a gradual phase in, maybe 0.5% a year or something like that, to go up to around 16. The other thing where this would actually help us is the pension system is underwater. That's why they're asking for additional money. And Moody's, when they review our credit, it's one of the biggest things they look at because, like the Detroit bankruptcy was basically over their pensions, they're always looking at that. It's kind of goofy the way it works because the city does not manage the pensions. That's handled by the state. We just send in money. But under the new accounting rules, and this is very new within the last few years, the pension liability is divvied up and reported on our books. So one of the biggest liabilities on our balance sheet, depending on the year, oftentimes it is the biggest, and even sometimes as big as everything else on our balance sheet, is our share of the state's pension liability. We have nothing to do with that. We don't control it. We can't pay it off. There isn't a way. We don't even calculate it. The state calculates it. They divvy it up, and they send us a notice that says the amount you need to report on your balance sheet is X. End of 22, it was $15 million. Moody's doesn't entirely trust the state's numbers, plus they have to be uniform across the country because they're rating cities across the country. So they calculate their own number. According to them, it's not $15 million, it's $96 million. And that sounds like an enormous difference, and it is. But you have to understand that this is a liability because it's pension that goes out like 100 years. So changing your estimates on your investment returns by 1 or 2% has millions and millions of dollars in impact, which is why you get different estimates. And it is, in our Moody's reports, it's the biggest negative item on our report. They specifically refer to it as, and I wrote it down so I could give it to you, the pension liability, this is referring to the city of Medina, they're talking about how our debt is modest and so on, and this is, on the contrary, the pension liability of the city is elevated and very unfavorable in comparison to Medina's AA1 rating. Our rating is the second highest rating that Moody's gives, and what they're saying there is that our pension liability is high compared to that rating, so that's something that's holding us back or could even result in a downgrade. So it would be nice if the state would straighten that out. So it has impacts both ways. There are a couple items that we in finance submitted, and we'll talk about those when we get there on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Huber, Law Director.
I just wanted to thank the finance director for letting us know that our pensions are underwater. Beyond that, I have no report.
Thank you. Mrs. Marshall, Economic Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report this evening.
Thank you. Chief Kinney, Police Department.
Thank you, Mr. President. Happy to report we had no issues during the solar eclipse, and as far as I know, there were no major issues throughout the state either.
Thank you. Mr. Picoli, Service Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report this evening.
Ms. Latuka, Municipal Court.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Patton, City Engineer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to report tomorrow our first concrete pour of the second phase of West Smith is scheduled to take place. Assuming it goes off without a hitch, we're still looking at a July completion date.
Thank you. Mr. Worley, Parks and Recreation Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to echo Mayor Hanwell's comments about the solar eclipse and the assistance that Barbara Deser provided a lot of people in the community with organizing various events across the county. I also wanted to mention a special thanks to Larry Johns, who brought an entire space exhibit to the rec center for several days leading up to the eclipse, and also presented a number of talks to the public. So thank you.
Thank you. Chief Walters, Fire Department.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you, Mr. Dutton, Planning and Community Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you. Notices, communications, and petitions, there are none. There's no unfinished business. Introduction of visitors. Members of the public will be permitted the opportunity to speak on any issue or concern which pertains to the city during a portion of the council agenda devoted to introduction of visitors. All comments shall be directed to the chair, and a reasonable time limit of approximately 5 minutes will be imposed. If there's a group, please appoint a spokesperson. Speakers should approach the rear microphone and state their name and address so it can be entered into the minutes. Members of the public will be permitted the opportunity to speak on other portions of the minutes of the meeting as determined by the chair or by a vote of the majority of council members present. Is there anybody that wishes to address council? I think we have Stacy Malakar, the Superintendent, Medina County Board of Development Disabilities.
Good evening, and thank you. I'm Stacy Malacher, the Superintendent of the Medina County Board of Developmental Disabilities. I have for you, and I will leave these, our 2023 annual report. And I just really first want to say thank you because, again, the work that we do is really supported by everybody in the community. So, thank you for the support. Thank you for supporting the levies when they do come up. It makes all the difference. This past year in 2023, we served 1,450 citizens of Medina County that are eligible for services. I can tell you right now that we're just over 1,500 as we were getting into 2024. The biggest increase we've seen are with children, and in particular, early intervention, that 0 to 3, where we can get in there and provide some supports and services that have a lasting effect on those young people's lives. We're continuing to work to help providers in the community so that there are people out there to provide the supports to people that need it, the direct support professionals. As you know, in the last budget, we were part of the group that lobbied the state to increase the rates that can be reimbursed for those services. Those are controlled by the state. And so we're happy to increase those and pay those additional dollars to ensure that people get the services they need. One of the things we're working on right now is, like everybody, we received some ARPA funds, the last hurrah of ARPA, and we're using those to get stuff out in the community for people. We're looking at the adult changing tables. I know that Mayor Hanwell is a big supporter of that, and we've had various discussions about that, but how do we get adult changing tables out into the community so that when people are out and about, they have that support that they need? We're looking at some transportation. We're trying to do a pilot on how do we get more transportation for people that use wheelchairs, and how do we get more transportation on those off hours, those after 5, those evening hours, those weekend hours. That is a big stumbling block barrier, not only for us, but across the state. So we're going to try to be creative with that, see if we can come up with something. So we're excited. We've got some things cooking, and I think that we'll have some successes for people here in Medina County. Any questions that I can answer for you? Again, thank you. I really appreciate all your support.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wishes to address council this evening? Nobody? Okay. Introduction and considerations of ordinances and resolutions. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings on the following ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance 6924, Resolution 7024, Ordinance 7124, 7224, 7324, 7424, 7524, Resolution 7624, Ordinance 7724, 7824, 7924, Resolution 8024, Ordinance 8124, and Ordinance 8224.
Mr. President?
Mr. Simpson.
I move to suspend the rules for the ordinances and resolutions that you had mentioned previously.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion to suspend the rules? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Ordinance 6924, an ordinance amending ordinance number 17823 passed November 13th, 2023, relative to the payment to Green Home Solutions LLC for private home rehabilitation of 137 Oaklie Drive as part of the fiscal year 22 CHIP grant program.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion.
Mr. President?
Mr. Simpson.
The emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the ordinance and the emergency clause. Mr. Dutton.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a CHIP project at 137 Oakley Drive in Brunswick, being completed by Green Home Solutions. The initial amount was $46,085. This is an increase to $48,110 to install a rough opening for a bay window, metal roof lining, and metal grab bars. The emergency clause has been requested as the project is underway, and this will allow the contractor to complete the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on emergency clause and/or the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Rose.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Ordinance 6924 passes 6-0.
Resolution 7024, resolution of the City of Medina in Medina County, Commonwealth of Ohio, or the State of Ohio, I guess we are. I don't think we're a Commonwealth. We're not a Commonwealth, that's Pennsylvania.
Thank you.
Supporting the Commission on the United States Semi-Quincentennial America 250 Ohio.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion. Mayor Hamel?
Thank you, Mr. President. So this is in preparation, any of the cities that want to be involved in putting together a committee and helping prepare for the celebration of America's 250th anniversary or semi-quincentennial, which is in 2026. And what's required is, for us to do that, is for the council to pass this resolution. We need to then put together a committee. Barbara has already begun soliciting input of interested parties, and we have to send a copy of this resolution down to the state of Ohio if council passes it, and I'd respectfully ask that you do.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments on the resolution? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Resolution 7024 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 7124, an ordinance authorizing the increase of expenditure to Signal Service Company for the Street Department.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion.
Mr.
Mr.
President?
Simpson.
The emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause and ordinance. Mr. Pacoli.
Thank you, Mr. President. So we opened this PO number 2024-1125 for $2,000, asking for increase to take it to $62,000. We use Signal Service regularly, I want to say on a weekly basis. Traffic cabinet, our traffic cabinet control systems, our light sequences, issues near schools, railroad crossings where we need immediate attention. And an example is we have a traffic cabinet that was hit. The conduit was struck last year, and I want to say March 30th to be exact, by a fiber installer. And they were clearly at fault. It smoked the cabinet. We have an outstanding bill of $68,000 of working through the insurance company. They were clearly liable for that. Our insurance company is working through subrogation to get that handled. We have numerous cases like that, not always that high in costs, but they happen regularly, so I appreciate it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
DeSalvo. Yes. Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Ordinance 7124 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 7224, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of one 2024 Ford F-350 pickup truck from Montrose Ford for the Forestry Department.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion, Mr. Worley.
Thank you, Mr. President. This purchase will replace a 2008 Ford F-250 pickup truck that was identified for replacement through the 2020 budgeting process. The purchase was delayed due to lack of availability. We are looking to purchase this utilizing the Community University and Education Purchasing Contract through Montrose Ford. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll on adoption of ordinance.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Ordinance 7224 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 7324, an ordinance repealing and replacing ordinance number 8423, passed April 24, 2023, pertaining to the Memorial Park swimming pool rates.
Move to approve?
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Worley.
Thank you, Mr. President. This ordinance will eliminate camp and group rate discounts for the outdoor pool. It also adds discounts for active military and adds a rate for nannies to be added to a family pass. In addition to that, it also authorizes Medina Rec Center members to be granted limited access to the outdoor pool for special circumstances like pool closures, special events, and low attendance times.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance.
Rose.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Ordinance 7324 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 7424, an ordinance repealing and replacing ordinance number 11322, passed May 23, 2022, pertaining to the annual membership rates of the Medina Community Recreation Center.
Move to approve?
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Worley.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's two parts to this ordinance. The first is an increase for summer memberships. Those are 3-month memberships. The price for those has not increased since 2016. The second part eliminates group discounts, as we are now requiring groups to reserve a room in the facility by booking online, so that those larger groups have a designated area to house their belongings and things while they're in the pool. Additionally, allows our staff to prepare for the larger groups accordingly.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll on adoption of the ordinance.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Ordinance 7424 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 7524, an ordinance repealing and replacing ordinance number 922, passed January 10, 2022, pertaining to the rental rates of Medina Community Recreation Center.
Move to approve?
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Worley.
Thank you, Mr. President. This ordinance will eliminate two different price points that we currently have for rentals and establish a party package of choice at one price. This will eliminate the confusion with online bookings and the delays that are associated with that while our staff communicates and explains the different price points. Also included are amended hourly staffing rates so that the rate that we charge will reflect the current pay of our staff that are required for after hours events. Additionally, it's going to require groups of 10 or more to book a party package or have prior administrative approval, again, so that we can prepare for these groups when they come to the facility.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 7524 passes 6-0.
Resolution 7624, a resolution establishing an ad hoc committee to be known as the Medina Municipal Courthouse Construction Manager at Risk Selection Committee.
Move to approve?
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Patton.
Thank you, Mr. President. We are recommending that we move forward with the Construction Manager at Risk project delivery system for the renovated Medina Courthouse, Medina Municipal Courthouse. This is a specific type of project delivery system. It was used by the county when they built the new courthouse. This system is recommended to us by the county as well as by our architect. And we believe it would be a tremendous benefit to this type of project. and would like to move forward with it.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment on the resolution? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the resolution?
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Resolution 7624 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 7724, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contractual agreement with American Structure Point for engineering design services for the US 42 resurfacing project.
Move to approve?
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Patton.
Thank you. Last year, we were fortunate enough to receive a grant, a little more than $900,000 from NOACA for the resurfacing of 42 between just north of Homestead down to Lafayette Road. The grant is for construction only. The city has to pay for 100% of the design cost, and that's what this is for.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Ordinance 7724 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 7824, an ordinance authorizing the sale of one 2013 Forest River utility trailer to the Medina County Emergency Management Agency for an amount of $5,000.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion. Chief Walters?
Thank you, Mr. President. This trailer was purchased roughly 12 years ago by the fire department with the idea that it would house specialty equipment that is not needed on most incidents, but when it is needed, you kind of need a way to bring it. That model was supported with this trailer by having people show up to a fire station and get that trailer off duty, we're not designed that way, and the trailer was not utilized the way it was thought. It was only responded to 2 calls in that time, so we've taken the equipment off, redeployed it. The trailer's still in really good shape, and as it turns out, the county has a need for one. They've looked at it and agreed to the purchase price that we had an appraisal for $5,000.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Hazelton,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Ordinance 7824 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 7924, an ordinance authorizing the law director to prepare the necessary documentation for the transfer of city-owned permanent parcel numbers 028-19A 21-265, 028-19A 21-266, and 028-19A 21-267, part of city lots 20, 22, 23, to the Medina City Development Corporation, CIC.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. So these 3 parcels are the parking lot across from today's Napa Auto Parts on South Elmwood, so it'd be the west side of South Elmwood Street. And we're respectfully requesting City Council for purposes of future economic development to transfer these lots to the CIC with the hopes that the CIC can then engage in a lease arrangement to have the lot significantly improved visually, makeup-wise, as well as the number of spaces it would result in. The lot, I envision the lot would still be used for public purposes, except for some special events that may take place at the upcoming Legacy Hotel and Convention Center that is on the east side of the road, directly across the street from this. I also envision that lease arrangement would have some limitations as to the large events in the city, that lot could not be shut down for public parking during those. And I'd respectfully ask council to pass this.
Thank you. Is there any further comment or discussion on the ordinance? Clerk, please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance.
Rose.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazelton.
Yes.
Ordinance 7924 passes 6-0.
Resolution 8024, resolution amending resolution number 12418 passed September 10th, 2018, relative to SBR 71 and authorizing submittal of a bicycle route realignment request to the Ohio Department of Transportation.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion. Mr. Dutton, is that you? Who's out? Jansen, Worley.
Thank you, Mr. President. State Bike Route 71 was developed in 2018 with ODOT, and at that time it was routed through the city of Medina utilizing North Jefferson Street. This was prior to the multi-purpose trail on North Court Street being constructed. So we'd like to submit a realignment request before the signs go up so that we can utilize the multi-purpose trail. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the resolution? Clerk, please call the roll on the adoption of the resolution.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazelton.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Resolution 8024 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 8124, an ordinance amending ordinance number 19023 passed November 28, 2023, amendments to the 24 budget.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion. Keith?
Thank you, Mr. President. These are 2 amendments in the probation department.
Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazelton.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 8124 passes 6-0.
And finally, ordinance 8224, an ordinance amending section 3105 and section 3102B5 and B6 of the Salaries and Benefits Code of the City of Medina, Ohio, relative to the Medina Municipal Court Probation Department.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Simpson.
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
My second includes the emergency clause?
Discussion on the emergency clause and ordinance. Cindy.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This is just amendment to 3105 and 3102 to help kind of clean up the probation department, make sure that our full-time staff has spots in the salary benefits code as well as the grants are all indicated in here as well.
Any emergency clause?
Oh, I'm sorry. The emergency clause is because we have a new probation officer who started on March 25th.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment on the ordinance and/or the emergency clause? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Did I skip somebody here? Rose, Simpson.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Coin,
Yeah.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Gotcha. Motion passes 6-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Ordinance 8224 passes 6-0.
Thank you. Council comments. Ms. Hare.
So I want to make a shout out to Nino Piccoli and his service department.
Wait a minute,
I
wait a
have to
minute.
say, several times this year, I have had to reach out to them because we've had some mishaps with deer, and this morning was no exception. I was driving down 18 and I saw a real big mess, and reached out to Nino, and his department promptly picked that up because nobody wants to see that sitting on the side of the road, especially on their way to and from a school. And I shudder to think what the vehicle that hit that deer looked like. So I know it's Nino's job, it's the service department's job, but every time I've reached out, when I've had a constituent or even somebody not in my ward reach out about a situation like that, Nino has responded promptly and courteously, and I appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to echo what the mayor stated about the solar eclipse weekend. I want to especially thank Barbara DeZoor for her years' worth of effort. It was spectacular. I mean, the eclipse itself was spectacular. The fireworks, the sponsors for the fireworks, thank you so much. All the city employees, including the service department, the fire department, the police department, making the fireworks happen for us. Medina Airport, I didn't make it out there for that, but I guess the fly in and fly out weekend was very successful. So again, hats off to Barbara. I was able to observe the eclipse up at the rec center, and the staff there, as always, was just phenomenal of helping people understand what was happening, what was going to happen. And Mr. Johns and Mrs. Johns, again, thank you for your input and your knowledge about the solar system. So other than that, just be kind to one another. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Mrs. Salvo? Okay,
All right, thank you. Okay, first of all, again, I want to echo what Denny said. All the events that we had were spectacular, well thought out, well planned. It shows the type of people we have in Medina, where we look to the positive things that can happen with this. I'm aware of a city in Western Ohio that we're looking at all the negative things and preparing for negative things. I'm so glad that I live in a community where we look at the good side of things. And thanks to all for bringing it all together and making it a nice, relaxing evening. And especially thanks to God for allowing us to see it. Thanks.
Thank you, Mrs. Salvo.
Absolutely. So I just want to, throw my kudos in there too. Had some friends from out of town come in with their 4-year-old girls, and we really enjoyed walking around the square. They enjoyed being the ketchup and the mustard at the down by Castle Noel. And then just one more thing, I want to wish my mom, Darlene Prock, happy 86th birthday, Mom.
Oh, that's nice. Nice. Anything else? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned.